Hey y'all, what's going on? This is Jesse Bowes from the 19th hole, and I'm here to do the rookie guide for you all today. And this is in association with the Clifftop Links Tournament starting Monday, July 8th, just 2 days away, which is when qualification will begin. And you will have 3 days to qualify for the opening round. So what we're going to talk about in this video is ball selection, elevation changes that you need to be aware of, club selection, and some different tips on how to play each of these 9 holes that we are going to see on this course. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started here. We've got hole number 1, and this is a par 4. So we start out with a par 4. Off the tee box for elevation, we're going to play a plus 20%. And when I say plus 20%, that means you have to add an additional 20% onto your wind. So whatever your wind is on the tee box, you have to add an additional plus 20% before you make your wind adjustment. So that's basically what I mean. When you see a plus 20, you hear the word plus, that means the shot is going downhill. If you hear me say minus, that's subtracting wind because the shot's going uphill and you don't quite need to go as far when you are going uphill. So you do subtract some of the distance. So here we go, hole number 1, plus 20% off the tee. I would definitely recommend at least a power 1, power 2 ball possibly. Or if you're going to try to go to the right side and skip over all that stuff, then you may want to look at a power 3 ball. But you know, the normal way you're going to play this hole is you're just going to play your shot up the fairway and try to go to the left side. Plus 20%, you will play the shot with at least 3 bars of topspin and pretty much a lot of left spin because you do want to stay away from this rough area. So you do want your ball to get as far up here into the fairway as possible, and that's why you use the left spin and the top spin. The amount of topspin that you use will definitely depend on the kind of wind that you have. With the tailwind, you don't need as much topspin. With the side wind, you need a little bit more topspin. I doubt we'll see headwind in the rookie. So from that spot right there, your second shot will be played at a plus 10%. And in my opinion, I would look to land this ball somewhere down along the bottom edge of the fairway that slopes off the green. For the reason being, I think you're going to find a much more consistent landing spot for your shot right there. And you know, you're going to play that shot most likely with the long iron, I would guess, possibly short iron depending on how good your drive is, most likely a long iron. For that long iron, I would suggest going with the backbone because of its consistency, its accuracy, and it's got a decent ball guide on it. So for your second shot, you will look, you use some backspin on this shot to land the shot at the base of the green. You will want to watch that ball guide. You want that ball guide to finish right around the hole. Definitely not a hole or green where you want to come up short on your second shot. If you do come up short and you use too much backspin, your ball will roll back down that green and into this bunker right here. I've seen many people do it, trying the full backspin shots with the thorn, and it's not a good look. It definitely is not good. So definitely be very careful of that shot. Do not come up short on that shot. Now, if you want to try to go to the right side here, you will need a club with a considerable amount of topspin. Maybe you have a little bit higher level clubs playing in the rookie. Maybe you have the big topper. The big topper would have enough topspin to make the shot happen, but you would also need some good wind. Some sort of like a left to right tailwind or something like that to even really try to attempt this shot with the big topper or a driver with a little bit more topspin. But if you want to play that shot, I would say you got to have a good amount of topspin. Probably 5-6 bars at the very minimum for sure. For which reason, what I would say the big topper would definitely be something to consider thinking about there. But I would probably recommend staying safe and staying to the left-hand side for this hole. If you are able to play the big topper shot to the right, it will leave you a nice little thorn shot about min distance with a couple bars of backspin. Try to aim that thing towards the hole. I would not play the backspin shot. If you want to try for the dunk, you could try the dunk, and I would play that at a minus 10% if you are up in this front area. So yeah, minus 10% for the dunk. All right, moving on, we got hole number 2 here. And we got a par 3. So on this par 3, I would look at a power 0, power 1 ball. You can go with a Marlin or Quasar. The problem with going any higher on this hole for this first shot is you may find yourself in between clubs. So that's the reason why we got to go with a little bit lower power balls for this shot. You're going to play this one with a plus 30% off the tee pad. And we're going to be playing our shot one of 2 ways. The first way is either bouncing it before this bunker. And if you're going to play the skip before the bunker, you're going to play, I would say, with a sniper or a Viper. If you have a sniper, definitely go with the sniper, better ball guide. If you don't, the Viper would be your next best option. And I would go with that with about 1-2 bars of topspin. And definitely watch your wind. You know, you do want your shot to come over the bunker, hop. Your third hop is going to be somewhere around the edge of this kind of fringe area, and you want to try to direct that ball guide as best as you can towards the hole. This is going to be a hole that you're not going to see. You're not going to see a lot of aces. If you see someone hit an ace, it was a very, very good shot, and they should be very happy with it. Most likely, though, you will see some pars on this hole, so definitely one of those holes where I think you really just want to try to make sure that you get the birdie. And this would definitely be a hole that I would keep an eye on for in the community boards, because you never know, someone may find the secret formula to giving you a little bit better of a chance for that ace. But that's something that usually will come out sometime around midweek after everybody's had a few times to play the hole and we know what kind of a wind we have for the shot. So definitely always keep your eyes out on the community boards. I definitely recommend the 19th hole in particular. So, all right, if you do have a wood, a driver, you know, you could definitely play a driver shot over the bunker with backspin and right spin, but I really seriously doubt anybody in the rookie is going to have a driver that well developed for that shot, but you never know. It's definitely an option if you do have the correct material for it. So, next hole, we got hole number 3. And we got our first par 5 of the tournament here. I would definitely recommend in the rookie going with the power 3 ball, Titan in particular, and you definitely want to bring clubs like your extra mile and your big dog, specifically the big dog for that second shot. That's why we have to bring the power 3 ball for this shot. So off the tee box, plus 20% off the tee box, and you're trying to land your shot somewhere in this zone right here. And then bounce it up this fairway to the top edge. It's actually a little bit more difficult of a drive than you think. You're going to play probably 3 to 4 bars of topspin at least. But you got to be very careful, because depending on what kind of wind we do get on Monday, could definitely change the spin that we use. With a good tailwind, you may want to back off the topspin a little bit, because you can very easily roll off the edge of this fairway into the OB over that cliff. So definitely want to watch out for that. You don't want that to happen for sure. So for the second shot from this location, depending on what kind of wind you have, you're either going to lay your shot up here, or if you have the tailwind and the good big dog, you'll play your shot over the gorge. And you'll hit the rough. You'll use the rough bump kind of with the big dog, and hopefully roll yourself up to the pin or right there on that fringe for an easy chip. This is not going to be a hole where you see a lot of albatrosses, but if you can get yourself up there in 2, give yourself a really good chance at that eagle. I would definitely say that's a win-win for this hole. So for that second shot, if you're going to the green, it's going to be a minus 10%, because you are taking that shot uphill. So that would be minus 10%. If you have a side wind or a headwind, or you just cannot make that second shot up to the green, in that case, then you would play your shot short here, and then play a short iron shot to the green in the hole, hopefully giving yourself a good chance to knock that one in. All right, next hole we have is hole number 4. And hole number 4 is another par 3. This is a par 3 where I think we will see a lot of people knocking down the ace. I would go with a Navigator ball. You could go with a Marlin if you don't want to spend a P1 ball, but I like the Navigator ball for this one for sure. For your tee, you're going to play it plus 15% off the tee box for this shot. It's a very short shot. In fact, you'll be using your short iron, your Thorn or your Hornet, and you're not going to be using a whole lot of spin. You're basically just going to be trying to play the wind, bump the ball over that bunker, land it on the fringe of the green, and then roll it into the hole. There is a small little hill that's right in front of the hole that your ball will hit and move a little bit to the left. So for that reason, you will want to aim your ball guide to the right edge of the hole on this shot and kind of just predict that leftward movement going over that hill. With a tailwind, you play a little bit of backspin, probably about 1 bar. If you have a crosswind, we're not going to play any kind of topspin or backspin. And then if we have a headwind, you need a little bit extra, so you will go with about a half a bar of topspin on that shot. Pretty straightforward hole. Not a whole lot to talk about. If you do pass the hole, the green does slope back to the back here, so that will leave you a quite lengthy putt. There's also, depending on the kind of wind we have for the tee shot, if we have like a really crosswind, you may consider looking at the rough bump right here. There is definitely a potential rough bump on this hole, and if we get the right wind, that leaves us with not a lot to risk. That's why I like those crosswinds, is because a crosswind is going to blow your shot right along that rough line. So even if you get great left or great right, your ball's still going to hit the rough. You're still going to have a very easy birdie putt. But definitely something to think about and to keep in mind for this hole. Definitely a good possibility at the rough bump. All right, next hole is hole number 5. Flip the page here to hole number 5. Oh, sorry about that. Hole number 5, and we've got another par 5 here. For this hole right here, I definitely recommend the Titan ball, Power 3 ball. You definitely need the distance for your tee shot. Plus 10% off the tee box will be your elevation adjustment. And you will either be playing a shot to bump it here or there, depending on what kind of wind, what kind of driver, and what kind of ball you do decide to use. Those are all possibilities. If you go to the second landing spot, you definitely do not need to use as much topspin, and I would use some left spin as well. If you do go to the first landing spot, though, you're going to want to use at least 4 bars of topspin and some side spin and curl as needed, because you do see, you have to kind of angle that shot to go to the left-hand side here. So you do want to hit there and then try to roll up that fairway as far as you can. The farther you roll up the fairway, the more choices you have when it comes to using a wood. If you don't feel comfortable with the drive, you don't feel like you can get too far up the fairway, I would definitely recommend bringing the big dog. Later on, though, if you do figure out the exact spin to use to get yourself farther up to the front edge of that finishing fairway, then you may be able to look at taking the Viper or a Sniper for the second shot to the hole. It's just a very straight, long shot to the hole, and it really comes down to kind of figuring out the roll of this green. If you can figure out the roll of the green and figure out the way you have to offset your shot, then you can definitely have a really good chance at dropping the albatross in on this hole. But definitely, for your second shot, 0%, I would not play any kind of elevation change. It's a very flat, straight shot. But I would definitely, for sure, take into account the extended and the compressed ball guide for this shot. So if you have a tailwind and you're playing your ball guide with the sniper, definitely take into account it's got an extended ball guide with the tailwind. If you have a headwind for the second shot, it's going to be a compressed ball guide, so the ball will not go quite as far as the ball guide shows. And if you have side wind, then you just have to kind of figure out the correct offset for that shot towards the hole. And it all comes down to figuring out the roll of the green, hopefully figuring out the perfect touch to get the albatross. All right, hole number 6 is next. And hole number 6 is a par 4. So off this tee pad, we have plus 10% for elevation. And I would definitely say power 2, power 3 ball, maybe higher depending on the way you're going to play this hole. So the normal way to play this hole is going to be to the right side out of the rookie division, where you play your shot up here, and you just try to get your shot as far up that fairway to that front right corner as possible. To make that happen, you do want to use a good amount of left spin, pretty much max left spin, and at least 3 bars of top spin, maybe more, as always, depending on what kind of a wind you have. As normal, more tailwind, less top spin. Let that tailwind do its job. But you definitely want to use that left spin because you do want to stay away from this rough here. Definitely don't want to go in there, but do also be careful about this rough and bunker right there. So it's kind of thread the needle right there, put yourself up that fairway, give yourself a nice second shot towards the hole for possible eagle chip. That is definitely a hornet and thorn shot right there, so whichever one of those 2 clubs that you do like the most, that would definitely be the one to look at. If you want to go to the left side, and that's the big if you get the correct tailwind for the shot, you would have to probably use a power 5 ball or a good amount of overpower, but you would be looking to land your driver right there on that fairway. And what you want to do is you got to have to use left spin and top spin, and the best thing is you hit right there at that edge and you can bounce over that bunker and either get onto the green or onto that fringe area for a very easy chip. Now, the other option would be play it kind of a safer way to the left side, in which case then you're really just looking to try to play your bounce over here and trying to roll yourself up to that area right there for a wedge shot at the hole, which would be definitely a very easy shot, I think, to dial in as well. So if you have a good tailwind, you do have 2 options going to the left. You can either try to go for the green, which I think in the rookie may be pushing it a tad bit, or you could just try to play that layup shot to the front fairway section of the green and have a wedge to the green, which I think would be a really good option as well. But the safe conservative way would be play to the right side, and it still does leave you a very good look at the hole. Of course, not as good as the one right in front of the green, but it's definitely still a good look, and you can usually dial in a thorn or hornet shot if you have enough tries at it. All right, moving on to our next hole now is hole number 7, and this is a par 3. And we are going to be playing this one at plus 25%. This is a hole that was quite interesting last time. I remember it quite well. It was a golden shot hole, if I remember correctly as well. Basically, ball choice right here, power 1, power 2, depending on what you want to try to do. I would definitely recommend playing this hole going with the Viper or the Sniper for the shot, for this shot particularly. And you definitely want to, it's a tough shot because you really got to just make sure you don't end up in this rough here or this bunker here. So you really want your shot to land somewhere in about there, and then with top spin, you're going to roll it up to the hole and hopefully kind of get you a nice straight line and get you the ace drop. This is a hole you're not going to see a lot of aces on for sure. So definitely want to try to figure out a way to play this hole to guarantee yourself the birdie. So if you have a tailwind, you're looking at about 2 bars of top spin, With the side wind a little bit extra, we'll go to 3 bars of topspin. And if you have a headwind, you definitely want to make sure you get that ball there, so you got to go with about 4 balls of topspin. And as always, like I said, definitely be careful on the rough on the left and the right. And I would definitely, when you're putting that topspin on, I would definitely look at side spin and see which side spin is able to divert you away from the rough the best and towards the hole for sure. Now, if you do have a driver on this hole, you have to have a good amount of backspin, like 5 to 6 bars of backspin at least. You could possibly try to land a shot over all of this with some left spin and backspin, and try to diverge that ball towards the hole that way. I don't believe a whole lot of people will play that shot out of the rookie, but it's definitely there if you do have the equipment necessary for the shot. You need a driver with a lot of backspin. I know in higher levels people like to play that one with the rocket or the quarterback, and I would venture to say that most people in the rookie would not have a quarterback high enough to be able to pull that off, but may possibly have a rocket depending on how leveled up it is. All right, next hole, hole number 8. Hole number 8, and hole number 8 is a par 4. I would definitely say with this hole, you're looking at P1 ball, at least a power 1 ball, Navigator Quasar. If you have a katana, though, you could always use a katana as well. Cut down that wind just a little bit. For the drive, I would say plus 20% is the elevation. And for the most part, in the rookie, your general play is just going to be the straight play to the left, trying to roll that shot to the edge of that fairway as close as you can get without going into the rough. For that shot, I would say about 3 to 4 bars of topspin at least, somewhere in there. And as always, that will depend on what kind of wind you have and maybe also what kind of club you're using as far as power goes. So definitely be aware of that shot, because it is possible to roll through that fairway into the rough. But once you figure out the topspin that works best for your club, then you should be set for that shot. The second shot from that location, I would recommend nothing but the rough bump. It looks like a very tiny little spot to hit, but it's really not that bad. And we'll probably get some sort of a nice crosswind to make it even easier in the rookie anyway. I would definitely say go with like your best accurate club, and that's normally going to be the backbone for most people in the rookie. But I do know some people like to play with the Saturn and the Goliath. So like always, play with whatever club you feel most comfortable with for sure. And don't try to force, use of a club that you're not used to playing with. You will be playing a plus 40% downhill shot for that rough bump. So definitely keep that in mind. And somewhere around 1 to 2 bars of topspin. I want to say last time we had this hole, it was like 1 topspin, 3 right spin or something like that. If you played the right spin angle type thing, it seemed to be the trick, do the trick for that hole. But yeah, definitely plus 40%. Now, you do have an option of playing to the right side. I really do not foresee many people playing it that way. But if you did, you would try to play a shot to land somewhere in here and then bounce as far down that fairway as possible. I don't think anybody in the rookie will have the topspin to roll that shot far enough down that fairway. But, it definitely would be an option. And that second shot would leave like a thorn shot to the hole. If you are able to play it that way. But you would definitely need a good amount of curl and a good amount of topspin for that shot, and you wouldn't want to use right spin. You definitely would want to use more than a power 1 ball. I would say you want a power 3 ball for that particular shot if you want to play it to the right side. The second shot from the right side, I'm not 100% sure on the elevation, but it is downhill still. It's not quite as severe as the plus 40% elevation. But I think it's like plus 20 or plus 30%. It's still a good, decent amount. So I'm just going to put plus 20 to 30% somewhere in there. And also remember, this is the rookie. The wind that you are going to be encountering is going to be so low that a plus 20, plus 30% is really not going to make a huge amount of difference. So it should be very easy to kind of figure out, did you overplay or did you underplay the adjustment on the shot, to be able to figure out which of those two would be correct for that way, if you even play it that way. And last but not least, we got hole number 9 here. And we end off with a par 5. So I would definitely say you want to bring a power 3 ball for this hole, no doubt, 100%. Plus 20% for the elevation for the tee shot. And most people are going to be playing their tee shot pretty straightforward, up the fairway and to that front right edge. Do be careful. Too much topspin, too much power, you can roll over and down the cliff to be out of bounds. So definitely keep that in mind when you are playing that shot. And definitely will depend on what kind of wind we have. With a tailwind, you'll probably be looking at somewhere between 0 to 1 or 2 bars of backspin. With a headwind, though, you won't want to use topspin. Most likely we'll have a tailwind, so we will be looking more at the no topspin to a little bit of backspin on that shot. So for your second shot, also that shot to the right-hand side, that will be played with an accuracy club. So when I say accuracy club for your driver, I'm talking about like a quarterback or the rock. That would definitely be the club you'll use for that. And you will definitely want to use that ball guide to its fullest to be able to judge where that ball is going to end up. So for the second shot, it is a plus 10% from here. You're playing it to somewhere in this zone right here. And I like the sniper for that shot, most likely because you want to use the ball guide, particularly because you want to use the ball guide to try to zone in on that shot. And you can use the Viper as well, or any of the other clubs. But you know, the club with the best accuracy and the best ball guide is going to give you the best chance to sink the shot. So definitely, that's the way I would play that. If we have a nice like right to left tailwind or some sort of a right to left crosswind, there is always the possibility of playing the shot to the left side, where we would be bouncing over the water and trying to roll up into somewhere in this fairway. To play that shot, you're going to use max top spin, max left spin, and a good amount of curl, depending on the kind of wind that you do have for that shot. You definitely will want to use a driver with a good amount of top spin, at least probably 4 to 5 bars of top spin, and I would definitely say it's an extra mile type of shot. So I know lower level extra miles aren't going to have a lot of curl to them, so at that point you'll probably just use the amount of curl that you do have. But it's definitely imperative that you do hit your second hop on the fairway, otherwise you will hit this rough right here, and your ball will not roll very far. So for the second shot, it'll be a plus 10%. And you're either going to be looking at a long iron or wood. So, you know, I would definitely bring your most accurate wood and long iron for that shot. And Viper, Sniper, or, you know, the Guardian might not be a bad option there, even though lower level Guardians have really bad ball guides, which is why I tend to stay away from them in the rookie. As they get higher in level, the ball guide does improve, so it makes them a lot more useful, in my opinion. But at start, you know, I would stick with the Viper, the Sniper, or even the Big Dog, if you didn't have those other options. And I would pack the, Backbone just because of its accuracy for sure. But you could also go with the Goliath to give yourself a little bit extra power, and possibly use that over the wood if you are able to get far enough up that fairway. So definitely a couple things to keep in mind when you do enter Monday for the qualification. And that's all I've got for you all today. That is the rookie guide, pre-tournament guide. A little bit late, but it's still out. And only one other thing I'd like to do before you all leave is tell you all about this guy right here, Gio Viviani. Check out his channel. All you got to do is search him on YouTube. You just type in Golf Clash Italy, and you will find his channel. He does a lot of cool stuff. He does a lot of higher level content. So if you are a player that wants to get out and see what this higher level content stuff is about, Tours 11, Tours 12, Masters, he has all that content on his YouTube page. You know, I hear a lot of people say, well, there's nobody that streams the higher level content. Well, here you go. Here's your guy. He's going to be very informative and very entertaining at the same time. He also does golden shots, and he is doing the QR code right now. So definitely go check out his channel. Get you some free balls while you're doing it. All right, y'all, take care. Y'all have a good day. Have a good weekend, and God bless. Good luck on the tournament.